Jay Park is making his rounds again by recently coming under fire for his seemingly derogatory comments regarding his friend Park Jimin in a live stream. So, let's talk about it. Jamie, or Park Jimin, as most of you might know her as, has been Jay's friend and label mate for many years during their time at JYP. I believe they've even done some segments on Dive Studios podcast and YouTube channel together in the past. So they're pretty close friends, or was. I'm not too sure after this, but let's take a closer look at their friendship. So, what went down is a few days ago, Jay went live on his Twitch. This is something that he's done pretty frequently in the past, but on this particular day, he wanted to share his thoughts on his friend Jamie. I went onto YouTube to find the exact video that got him into this drama, and I was able to find a little short created by the K-pop channel called The K-pop Switch, and this is what Jay had to say.
Jay gets backlash after he calls his friend Jamie a derogatory name. On a recent Twitch stream, Jay was heard saying this about Jamie.
Okay, now that I'm not in K-pop anymore, I could say this. Why Jamie trying to be a thought?
Now, I'm not sure exactly what prompted Jay to make that type of remark all of a sudden. Okay, I understand that my generation jokes like this. Some friends call each other out their names, and to some, this may seem very disrespectful and it may come across like, you're going too far or you're crossing the line, but to others, it's completely normal. Now, these two give me those vibes that they may have played around like that before. So, when I first saw the video and I read the article on All K-pop, I was shocked that he said it in public, but I was like, maybe he's just letting the public in on how they converse with each other. I mean, personally, my friend group jokes like this all the time, so I didn't think anything was wrong with this. But when I saw Jamie's response, I felt bad for her, and that led me to retract my thoughts and be like, oh, okay, she does not talk to him like this, maybe, and this is something completely new. So, according to All K-pop, this is what Jamie had to say in response to Jay's live tweets. What? Just remember how much I cared about you even before you were in your last company, and how many times I asked if you were all right. I prayed for you. Your questions were like mine. It's really sad. She also goes on to say, I'm just deleting it. I'm okay. I hate that we as women have to be subjected to men's humor to appease incels on the internet. Period. Now, that just goes to show that she was not feeling any of the comments that he made about her, and which is understandable. It seems like she didn't take that as a joke at all. She sounded hurt by the comments made about her from her friend, which is again understandable. I I personally didn't think it was that bad, but I can't discredit her feelings. Like if somebody doesn't want to be called a certain word, then they have every right to feel that way and to call people out on it. Like her feelings are very valid, and she's not me. So you feel me? Like you can't. Again, I'm just not discrediting what she said. If someone doesn't joke around in a certain way and it's being put out there as if they do, then the person who said it has to be prepared for the backlash, especially if you're a celebrity or an idol. Even if he doesn't consider himself one anymore, he still has a massive following like one. It's not like, oh, just because you left JYP, all these people who know you have just disappeared too. Like, no, you're still very much so in the public eye. So for people like Jay, like they have to watch out what they say. So this is how Jay addressed the situation. After an hour of Jamie's tweet going out, he made a public apology via Twitter, and he referred to the incident as something as he thought was a friendly banter, and he realizes that in no way was he referencing any kind of physical behavior or energy trying to take a slight at Jamie, but he was talking about the aura of what people refer to as a baddie, and he thought that the two were synonymous. He also apologized to both Jamie and others who were hurt by the word choice, and he also admitted that this, like what he said, was distasteful. Just to clarify, I'm not defending his actions. I completely hold him accountable for the things that he said and how he made Jamie feel. I was just speaking from a personal perspective on how I understand if this was taken more lightly, that it'd be because I know a lot of people who joke around like this, but of course it's almost always behind closed doors and not for the public to know about. Like, I wouldn't feel comfortable if my friends just started to come out and say all these names to me in front of people that don't really know me like that. Like, that's something personal that we do, because it's like a different level of intimacy that you have with a person if you let them call you out your name. It's like, okay, I know you're joking. I know you don't mean this maliciously. But also, we have to be careful with words that we use that are intended for malicious, situations, because words do have a double-edged sword. If it's not okay to say in one instance, but okay to say in another instance, then we should be like questioning, is this the type of word that we should be using in the first place? So, what's the status on their friendship as of now? So far, Jamie has not responded or spoken about the situation since she deleted her tweets that first addressed the situation, which is pretty interesting. I don't know what they're gonna do as far as like their friendship. I don't know if she's still gonna consider him a friend. I don't know if they're gonna reconcile. I mean, I can see why he thought it was funny in a joking manner to say that, but from her point of view, I can see where, like, if they don't play like that, I can see where it would come as a shock and be like, oh my God, like, why are you saying this? And then in public too. I could see if she was even on the Twitch with him so that we could get like her live response, but it wasn't even that. He just randomly brought her up for seemingly no reason. Um, it's just weird. Like, why would he say something like that in the first place? Like, to me, it's giving kind of like, I don't know, like attention seeking. Like, did he want to get clout off of Jamie's name or something? I'm just like super confused as to why he thought this was okay to say. Like, what led him to believe that Jamie should even be called that type of word? I don't understand. It's just so many questions have been running through my head since all of this has happened. And of course, I turn to you guys in the comments section to help me figure this one out and shed some insight. So this is what some of you guys had to say. One person says, this guy's 29 years old, a full grown adult, behaving like this. Even the way he was laughing was just super obnoxious. I guess not being in K-pop anymore showed his true ugly colors to the world. And literally, no one who knows the term thought confuses it with baddie. Some people do. Some people I know. I guess it just depends on where you grew up, who your social circles are, but I digress. That's just a poor and sorry excuse. What was he trying to prove by calling her a thought? He's fearless and has a IDGAF mentality, and people are going to think, OMG, he's so cool or something. He needs to grow up and learn to be a decent human being. Agreed. Somebody has said, you're right on the spot about him showing his true colors, though. Like, now that he's not an idol, he has no filters and tries to be all edgy. It's kind of cringe. I also agree with that. Somebody else says, that's showing most of K-pop idols keep their real attitude for the sake of being a good idol. This is also true. A lot of K-pop idols do not show you who they really are. They only show you a shade of what their agency wants you to see, because when they're signed to an agency, if something falls back on them, it also falls back on the agency. So they want their people to be squeaky clean and perfect. Someone else says he's 29. That was such an underage attitude. He shouldn't drag anything about K-pop the moment he chose to leave, but oh well. That's also true. Like, why are you even speaking on K-pop and idols if you're so happy to be rid of it? It's like, why is it your first go-to? Shouldn't we be hearing more about your music, Mr. EJ? Anyways, he has to be stupid because the majority of his fan base are girls, and to think that his fans wouldn't call him out. Everyone knows a baddie and a thought are completely different things. OMG. Someone else says, I am not defending Jay, but I didn't know what the term means until recently, and I'm older than him and on the internet all the time. However, I never felt comfortable using it because I didn't understand the term. Well, good for you. You don't need to use it. Someone else says, calling a girl you've known since she was 14 and you were an adult a thought after she has been open about the harassment she receives from people sexualizing her body is by no means a mistake. Honestly, if being in K-pop was the only thing stopping him from saying comments like this the entire time, then I don't think I want to know him anymore. He's also been making some unsavory comments about Day 6 as a whole, and it's just sad to see and pretty cowardly considering half the members are currently enlisted, so won't be able to make any public comments themselves. Interesting. First of all, I didn't know that people were sexualizing Jamie. That's so sad. And then what does he have to say about Day 6? Like, why would you bash the guys that you've grown to know and become close with? Like, I don't get that. I guess he's showing us a lot of his true colors. Somebody else says, okay, but Jamie's tweet about how women have to appease to men's humor was right on the money. It is so tiring, and I'm glad to see her stand up for herself, and that goes for anyone out there. Don't let anyone disrespect you like this. Agreed. Another one says, most K-pop fans were canceling her for a collab, which was misunderstood, and called her derogatory terms, and also, you all better treat her well. I didn't know that. Someone else says he's just sorry because he got caught. Not the first time Jay has said something stupid publicly. Interesting. I wonder what else he said. Let me know. Someone else says his entire 2021 was controversial. This is just the incident that broke the camel's back. He is giving Jay Park energy. Oh my God, not the Jays twinning energy now. Oh no. Someone else says, he even said, as I am not in K-pop, I can say, like, dude, did your company make you be a decent human being? Oh, gosh. Go back to JYP, man. He taught you some couth. Okay, let's keep going. You guys are funny. That's why I enjoy reading your comments. So let's see. Someone else says, if you watch the stream, he literally was not apologetic at all and was laughing the entire time. And even after he made that comment and people were talking about it in the chat, he was still joking and implying that the way she poses in her pics was why he called her a thought. He is hella gross. Ugh, why is he looking at her like that? Like, this is your friend. Who cares if she's posting in her pictures like that? You should be like bigging her up and applauding her for like owning her body and her sex appeal and all that stuff, and helping her to feel good, not tearing her down. Like, are you mad? Do you secretly wish you were her? Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, you guys, I don't even curse on my channel. I try not to, but he's actually got me heated the more I'm like reading. Like, I'm reading you guys' comments and I'm just starting to come to realizations like that I didn't even know about this guy. Again, I don't follow the Day 6 guys like that, as I've said in my other video, so this is all news to me. Someone else said, gladly he left the group because he would drag them down, period. Somebody else said, honestly, this might offend, but his hiatus from the band always seems sketchy. Like, he can do all these other things on his own and demand the company promote said projects, but he can't bring himself to work on stuff with the band? Sus. Girl, very sus. Let us know. Somebody else said, exactly, his members must feel so lucky right now. They dodged a huge bullet. Yes, they don't have him weighing down the group anymore. Good for them. Hope they make better music now as a result. Someone else said, it's barely been a week since this man was out of JYP and he can't keep his mouth shut. Period. Somebody else said, to freedom. And then we have a actual dictionary definition of the word thought, which is a woman who has many casual sexual encounters or relationships. Okay, like, who's really in Jamie's like personal life, like snooping on what she's doing? Like, come on. Seriously, like, I don't think that she is that word. So for him to call her that is just like, I don't know, it's giving very jealous. I don't know. Very frenemy-ish. Like, that's something I would expect from like another female who's low-key hating on Jamie but still in her friend circle because they're trying to one-up her. Like, he's so weird. Okay, so someone else says he literally said her vocals are insane, but her visuals, dot, dot, dot. It's obvious he didn't mean it in a friendly way whatsoever. He insulted her, and that's what he meant to do. Don't let his damage control fool you. Who told him saying something like this about one of his friends is okay? Darn, it's not okay to say that to anyone, but you'd think he'd have at least a little bit of respect for someone who stuck with him. I barely even finished watching the whole clip. I was so disgusted by what he's saying, and most importantly, his attitude throughout the whole thing. He just seemed incredibly condescending. His huge ego probably told him that it would be acceptable to say something like that, and then when no one laughed, he backtracked and said, "Nah, I shouldn't have said that. It wasn't worth it." Like, worth what? What is insulting your friend supposed to be worth? His apology is complete BS. It's obvious he thought his misogynistic butt would be enabled. He messes up, apologizes, go on hiatus, repeats. So tired of it all, to be honest. Ooh, girl, you let him have it, and that's so true. Everything you said was valid. Someone else said he's so mean to his own friend, a girl whom he's known for years. Somebody else says, as an American, thought is an acronym for that hoe over there. That is true. That's literally what it means. It is clearly never anything that is a compliment. It's always referenced to call a woman a slut or a hoe, etc. This term is not new. It's never been used to represent any other context, sorry. His excuse is complete bull. I don't even know him or day 6, but I can clearly see that his actions are bull. There is no way anyone with the right head on their shoulders can justify this. He started it off, now that I'm not in K-pop. Clearly, as many have said, he's about to say something stupid. Not all the time. I mean, heck, he could have said, I can finally breathe, I can finally relax. But no. He's known Jamie for a long time from what I've read. He knows her dilemmas and her pain. To sit here and think what he said is funny is asinine. If it was an internal joke amongst friends, she would not have responded on her Twitter with what she did. She probably deleted it because she didn't want to deal with it. But the fact that she said something else clearly shows she's upset. And this is the comment that I'm getting at. Like, not to justify what I said earlier. Like, what I said earlier wasn't to justify him or to give him credit or to defend him. It was just to say, like, I get if friends joke like that behind the scene. And if that's something that they did, I would understand. But this comment is representing what I said. Her response shows that she was not okay with that, and it very much so rubbed her the wrong way to have this super grown man talking about her like that. Like, what is wrong with you? Okay, so somebody else says his excuse is shoddy AF. There is no excuse, no rhyme or reason for him to think, oh, I didn't know. Absolute bull. The acronym has been around for 10 plus years, and it's no secret to anyone what it means. Sure, rappers and whatever, some Western artists may flaunt that word in a song or some bull, but it's not something you just go around calling someone. If he was joking, he wouldn't have laughed his darn butt off and said, yeah, go tell her, whatever. Those of you trying to justify this, just stop. It doesn't matter if you're American, British, Asian, European. That word is not something that just formed. It's extremely derogatory. Somebody else says, yeah, I only use that word if talking with my male friends, never in public, social network, or even when there's girls around. Exactly. Most people don't. Unless you're with your intimate friends who actually play like that. Like, again, not all friends play like that. I have some friends that I do play with like that and some that I don't. Like, you know when to turn it on and off if you choose to use that word. Jay knows full well what that means, and it is not synonymous with being a bad A. Another one says the only thing worse than Jay's comments is the people fighting for their lives to defend him with absolutely mining but a teaspoon of logic. That's how streamers talk BS. Another one says, we aren't defending him, we are just not attacking him like most comments are. Interesting. Somebody else says, don't get me wrong, I love Day 6 and Jay since their debut, but sometimes he's just too much. He thought he was restricted and criticized because he was an idol, but no, he was just too inconsiderate and thoughtless with his actions. Freedom doesn't mean you can say or do anything you want without considering others. True. I tried to keep thinking positively of him before, but there's no excuse for him shaming his best friend. That is absolutely true. Somebody else says, does he ever stop talking or I like that. Now all of a sudden that he's not in K-pop, he became better than idols? Question mark. That is also a good question. Good he left day 6 before he could do more damage to the rest of the band. I agree. Somebody else says he's also mocked BLM, transgender folks, autistic folks, Koreans in general, calling them brainwashed from birth, and then backpedals and calls it a joke, or that he misunderstood when he gets criticized. Interesting. You can't just throw rocks and hide your hands. Like you have to own up to what you say. Somebody else says, well, I wonder how he manages to get canceled every day. This. Another one says, he is American. He knows full well what that means. I'm really disappointed in Jay. He is trying to be an edgelord so hard, but he will lose all his friends and all of his supporters except for the hardcore Delulu apologists in the process. Cancel him now before he proceeds on his out-of-control ego trip. True. Another one says, I'm disappointed in him for thinking that this is okay to say. Jamie deserves better. She does. Another says, only a few days ago, many fans cursing JYP, and now your beloved Oppa doing this. Now you see the real side of him. Be smart when you idolize a person. Don't be blind. And that goes for all celebrities. You need to watch who you idolize. Someone else says, or just don't idolize. I think that's the better option. No one will be perfect. And on that note, I'm going to stop the comments there. They go on and on and on, but those are just my favorites that I wanted to point out to you guys. And yeah, like this situation is crazy. What do you guys think will happen to their friendship? I mean, like I said, Jamie has not responded or spoken out about the situation since she's deleted her tweets. Do you think that she accepted Jay's apology? And do you think that their friendship can be on the mend as a result of all this? Should she continue to be friends with him after this? I don't know. I'm curious to know what you guys' thoughts are on this topic. But again, until the next video, I will see you guys around. Salam.